Ju.
Good evening, Sam.
Thank you for making the time.
Good evening to your listeners. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And right here in the studio is Mr. Vincent Gbosi, as a special assistant on media and publicity to Chief Tony Okocha. Hello, Mr. Gbosi. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for making the time. All right, gentlemen, there's a lot to unpack. There's little time, so I'll ensure not to waste your time. Mr. Nwauju, I'll start with you since you are on the phone. And we may have heard this before. Maybe we even know the answer to this question. But once again, I'd like to hear from you. What is the basis of your camp's claim to the authentic leadership of the Rivers APC?
Okay, Sam, I appreciate again for this opportunity to explain the position of things as regards this party called APC. Again, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, you are aware that this party is one party in the whole of the geographical expression called Nigeria that has been buffeted. I use the word advisedly because the party since its formation in 2014, about when it came on board in Rivers State, has been met with several challenges. And so, every now and again, we have had to run in and out of the court. And so today again, we are in the court trying to determine the authenticity of leadership claims by opposing forces. And I would also want to underline the fact that as of today, we now have persons of, or if you like, persons with opposing tendencies, persons with opposing ideologies, now laying claim to leadership of the APC in Rivers State. However, let me quickly point out, to save our time, that on the 12th of August 2024 was the secret proclamation of the Rivers State High Court had, number one, taken a decision, or did take a decision, if you like. I decided to use that taking because it is still present continuous, because no higher court has invalidated that decision of Justice Proku. So he took two decisions. The first was that the purported constitution of a caretaker committee in place of validly elected executives of the APC in Rivers State was null and void and of no effect. Number two decision which he took, which is the plank upon which Chief Emeka Bekee and the rest of the executives elected on 16th October 2021 are still laying claim to their tenure in office, was that the election and the validity of tenure of Chief Emeka Bekee and the rest of us was hereby reaffirmed. And so these are the planks upon which you see the argument of those of us who believe, and rightly so, that the right thing at every point in time should be done. If I walk you back history a bit, you would recall that in 2018, the party was in court under similar circumstances. There was a Congress which produced a Ojukwu flag and marquee, and so that executive led by Ojukwu conducted primaries that produced Architect Cole in 2019. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court of Nigeria delisted the APC from that election and told us that we cannot benefit from our stupidity. Why did the Supreme Court say so? Why did the court say so? Because against an order of court, an order that was issued by Justice Nwauju, the APC went ahead to conduct congresses and all that in Rivers State. The rest, as they say, is history. And so we are where we are today because besides the fact that flowing from the decision of Justice Atrogo on August the 12th, a member of the executive committee, Mr. Peter Nwauju, and two other persons went to court again to reinforce the order of the brother judge of the High Court, that is Justice Atrogo's order, demanding that the court should maintain status quo and stop the APC from going ahead to conduct congresses that was earlier advertised. And we think that the party decided that the party at the headquarters, the NWC, decided to be clever by half by quickly postponing that particular primary, the date for that particular primary. In fact, the planned primary was postponed twice before a final one was held. I'm trying to make some brief commentaries because of time, because if not, I would have mentioned clearly the timeline for all these actions and activities. And so, Mr. Peter Nwauju, a member of the executive of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, one of the youth leaders in charge of the Southeast Rivers East Senatorial District, went to court. And so Justice Godwin Ola of the State High Court reinforced the order and granted an ex parte injunction stopping the APC from conducting primaries in the state pending the determination of the case before the court. But the party decided to play a fast one by shifting the congresses. And so the suit that Nwauju filed in court became more or less an academic exercise, given the fact that the party no longer proceeded with the congresses on the state date.
Yeah.
However, there were other elements of the party who claimed, or members of the party who claimed, that they had gone to purchase funds. Remember that the executives of the party under Emeka Bekee had a valid court order which affirms their leadership of the party. And so they had no issues contending with whosoever. But some elements within the party went ahead to purchase funds from the National Secretariat of the party, Joe Brown and DK and others, went to the party, the National Secretariat of the party, to purchase funds for those congresses in order to participate in the publicized congresses. And so the party again issued them with funds for which they have their receipts and evidences. But at the end of the day, the purported congresses were conducted excluding these individuals, and they went to court and showed cause why the court should first of all nullify the congresses, given the fact that indeed they purchased the funds to be able to participate in the congresses.
Okay,
but
Mr. Nwauju.
They denied opportunity to participate.
Okay.
And so the court gave the first order asking the party not to proceed, because by the time they went to court to get the interim order, they had conducted the purported world congresses of the party.
Okay, Mr. Nwauju, I would want you to pause for a bit, right? You've given us all. We have a break up shortly, and I would really love to hear from my other guests before we go on that break. So we've heard your position on things, and so over to you, sir. It's a bit noisy on the phone. Mr. Gbosi, you've heard Mr. Darlington Nwauju's position, and of course the same question thrown to you. What is the basis of your camp's claim to the authentic leadership of the Rivers APC?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that in your introduction, you repeated something that we complained about some days back.
Okay.
And that is referring to Sir Chief Tony Okocha, the chairman of the APC Rivers State as a factional leader of the party. That is not correct.
Okay.
We complained against that, and I'm surprised that up to this point, that is still going on. That is not fair. Okay, so...
Now, hold on. I'm going to respond to that because... So, I said the APC has factions, and then I said the Emeka Bekee-led APC and the Tony Okocha-led APC. Now, you need to understand, and that's part of why this conversation is happening. Whether you agree or not, your party has factions. Whether you agree or not, there are two people who have at this point come up to say, I'm the chairman of the party. And in one way or the other, the judiciary, along with the APC, has created this confusion that everybody has found themselves.
Really?
Yes. Yes, indeed. So the reason why this is happening, and I'm glad that, you're both here, is because there is a consideration that at this time, courts from different parts of this country and of different levels have affirmed two different people. So there's a Tony Okocha-led APC and there's an Emeka Bekee-led APC.
And I'm saying that is not correct.
Okay.
There is no way.
So tell me why it's not correct.
It is not correct because I think on the 2nd of May, that was on Friday, there was a judgment of the Court of Appeal in the Port Harcourt Division.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did it say?
The judgment said that the court that you mentioned earlier has no power, no jurisdiction to dabble into the internal party affairs of the APC.
Exactly.
Okay, so when an appeal court that is higher than the state high court has given such a judgment, what becomes the case?
The ruling was that...
hold on. In the hierarchy of courts, the appeal court is higher than the state high court. Okay? So if something was gotten or a pronouncement was made by a state high court, in this case, and the matter got up to the appeal court, and the appeal court has come up with a judgment, should we still be referring to something that was done in a lower court? So that is why I'm saying that in your intro, I'm surprised you're still insisting. There's no faction in the APC in Rivers State. The APC at the moment is one and indivisible under the chairmanship of Sir Chief Tony Okocha.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what the appeal court said, let's leave legal terms, is that it is not in our position to handle your internal problems. Am I right?
And what do you understand by that?
Okay. So, the appellate court held that issues concerning internal affairs and leadership of a political party are not justiciable, meaning that not subject to judicial review or capable of being determined by a court. That does not say that Tony Okocha is the chairman or Emeka Bekee is the chairman. It simply says, we are not responsible for solving your problem.
Because the court knows so. The court knows that there's no court, okay, that has the power to decide what happens within,
yes, so, but you
within the party.
Use
Excuse
that
me, I'm coming, sir.
I'm
I'm
coming.
coming.
Okocha is a chairman from that particular ruling.
See, let me let you know something.
Okay.
When the Emeka Bekee tenure came to an end, when it was sacked, the National Working Committee of the APC, led by His Excellency Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, in his wisdom and in the wisdom of the National Working Committee of the APC, he came up with a caretaker committee because at that time there was need for that. Okay? And so from that point up until when congresses were conducted in the APC in Rivers State, the talk about Emeka Bekee being whatever in the APC had long ceased. It has ceased. Okay? So it was because there cannot be any vacuum. It was in the wisdom of the National Working Committee that there shouldn't be a vacuum in the party, that the caretaker committee headed by Sir Chief Tony Okocha was brought on board with a clear charge for them to unite the party, to rebuild the party, which he did. Okay. Are you saying all of these processes were wrong? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that
you're sounding like
no.
Maybe some of us have not been around or what? The
thing is, attempting to respond to you would seem like I'm taking sides, right? I'm speaking to what the court has offered.
That's what it's looking like because, sorry, in Rivers State, we have up to, I think, over 10 radio stations. Surprisingly, it is only your station and your sister stations that are referring to Sir Chief Tony Okocha as
Because
a factional.
that is exactly what it is.
The thing here is this: why and other sister stations that are referring to Sir Chief Tony Okocha, the chairman of the APC in Rivers State, as a factional leader or chairman?
I
Why is
cannot
it so?
speak for other stations, right? I don't know what they do. And, well, this might seem arrogant. We don't care what they do. Our job is to report what is, right?
Does it mean that these other stations don't know what is?
I don't know. It's not. I'm not working for
Anyway,
them.
we're having a conversation.
So the reason behind the idea of the position we hold is, what are the facts on ground? What have the courts said? And I'm holding this conversation for this long already seems like, there are sides already taken. Darlington Nwauju is supposed to be responding to you, but I'm responding to your claim that our station has.
It's not a claim.
Decided.
That is a fact. As we speak, the chairman of the APC in River State is Sir Chief Tony
It
Okocha.
is in dispute.
No, I'm surprised that you're now interpreting a clear court judgment in this studio the way you're doing.
Okay,
like
so,
you rightly said, you're beginning to be sounding like you're a spokesman for these people you're mentioning.
Don't mind me, that's how I behave. So
It's
let
okay.
me take this break.
Hello, Sam.
Mr. Nwauju, you have to hold on. I have to take this break now. When we come back, you would have to respond. I'm responding for my station. That's what I'm interested in.
Okay.
Please stay with us.
All right.
Chinedu here. We're still having conversations at border on the tussle in the APC. My guests are still right here with me. Darlington Nwauju, who is the Publicity Secretary of the Emeka Bekee-led APC, and Vincent Gbosi, Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to Chief Tony Okocha, led APC as well. You're welcome once again. Okay, so before the break, we're talking about your displeasure with how my station addressed Tony Okocha, and I will still respond to that. But I believe that Mr. Nwauju, who is on the phone, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, Sam. I can hear you.
Okay, so he had made some statements affirming that Tony Okocha is the actual chairman of the APC, thanks to court judgment. What is your response to that?
Well, Sam, like I was trying to say, I was careful to save the time of the studio and indeed not to stretch the patience of Rivers people, because these are issues that have been adequately argued over time in the past 1 year. Let me draw the attention of your other guests, who I presume his boss is sent. They were intelligent enough to send him because they are aware that Rivers people have already known their voices as voices of steady flip-flop and serious unsteadiness in integrity and character. So let me quickly say that the issue that was dismissed on last week Friday, that 2nd of May, is, like I said before, the matter that was brought by Peter Oduku, and it was an interlocutory appeal. And let me also remind him, in case he does not know, that on the 15th of November last year, the Court of Appeal set aside the interim order issued by Justice Olo. And so what you saw happening on Friday was the continuation of that matter and the eventual dismissal of that matter. Like I said, that matter was overtaken by time and event, because it was filed in order to arrest the congresses, the notice of congresses that was earlier on published immediately after our court judgment came out. And so the party at the national decided to postpone the congresses, and it did so twice. And by so doing, technically and practically rendering Peter Oduku's case of no effect. And so the Court of Appeal has dispensed with that. It does not in any way negate the matters that are still lying before the Court of Appeal as of today. We have suit number CA/CH/406/2024 that was brought by Chief Barnes Eni. The judgment that was given in favor of Chief Barnes Eni, who filed for himself and the other members of the local government executives of the APC in Rivers State. On the same 12th of August, Justice Ika Troko, reaffirmed the subsistence of their tenure. And then we have suit number CA/3A/405/2024, filed by the secretary of our party, Honorable Sansa Metetego, and others, on behalf of the executives of the party, which Abdullah Ganduje and others filed an appeal on. Like I rightly said, it is CA/CH/405/2024. It is still lying before the Court of Appeal.
Okay, Mr. Nwauju. Okay, so hold on.
Please let me flow in the line of thought, please.
Okay. Very quickly, now, so that he can respond.
And there is another weighty matter that is akin to the Ibrahim Omar matter that removed Rivers APC from the ballot in 2019. The matter that was brought against the APC National by those who bought funds for the purported congresses which they held in disobedience to court order. And the party, on 20th of December last year, Justice Obombano dissolved and cancelled and nullified the so-called congresses, which the party went on appeal. The end of this appeal that matter. It is still there. These are issues that portends danger for the APC. And you cannot sit down somewhere and tell me that the party has a way of arranging or organizing or sorting itself out, when in the first place it was because of the failure of the party to put itself together that led to persons going to court. Now, again, people have said that the issues of leadership borders on internal mechanisms of the party. Yes and no. Now, the yes is that yes, the party has powers to organize itself under its constitution. Look at the very many paragraphs of the Article of Association of the APC 2022 as amended in March of 2022. Look at the paragraph. The constitution of the party empaneled the NWC to, on its own volition, wake up one morning and discipline any member of the party. Look again at Article 17, we talked about tenureship of executives. Look again at Article 18.
Okay, Mr. Nwauju, you would have to wrap up because we don't have all time.
You do not know what the constitution of the party is saying.
Okay.
You need to keep quiet about what is happening within the APC because it shows that when you talk out of the ignorance.
Okay, so let him respond, please.
Upon which we got judgment. Number one was the fact that you denied people the freedom or the right or the opportunity for fair hearing. This is fundamental.
Okay, Mr. Nwauju, that's
you
okay.
Cannot claim that
hold on, sir. Okay, sir.
So.
Okay. I'd like you to respond to that. I'm trying to make the most of the time that I have. Over to you.
Okay, it's very clear that Mr. Nwauju is aggrieved. Carefully listen to him. If you listen to him, what you feel is somebody that's aggrieved. He's just aggrieved. So all of this talk going back and forth, blowing hot and cold, is from the fact that he's aggrieved, because he knows, despite the fact that they are aggrieved, they know that the APC is a party that respects the rule of law. How come it is only himself that knows that it's Emeka Bekee that is the chairman of the APC in Rivers State? The National Working Committee, that is the body responsible for managing the affairs of the party, headed by His Excellency Ganduje Umar, came to Rivers State after the election of the Okocha State Executive and inaugurated them. And so, as of today, Emeka Bekee and those he was doing whatever he was doing with, they are nothing close to the leadership of the party. I'm still repeating it. That's how Chief Tony Okocha. I listened to Nwauju. He was just going back and forth, saying this and that. Of course, that is how somebody that's aggrieved will always labor to convince people that what he's saying is correct. But there's no truth in anything that I say. Okay, when last did Emeka Bekee get close to the fence of the APC National Secretariat in Abuja? Because if he is anything that Nwauju Darlington is claiming that he is, he would have been